3. Testing 1, 2, 3. This will be the annual meeting of the Board of Directors, September the 8th, 1970, St. Joseph's Infirmary, Board Room.
Maybe there are some things that we can talk a little bit about. We have a request from private duty nurses, but I don't know quite how to handle. They want to raise their fees to $35 a day. And they would like the executive board to back them. Now, since they don't have a formal occupational group this year, they've not had enough people to elect officers or to hold meetings. I don't know what we can do about this.
Well, I'd like to express an opinion. Carolyn talked to me about it when she came down about the budget, and I feel that, with the cost of living, I think that this probably is coming. I think we have to face it, but the contention that I have is that we don't have any control over this group. If we want to increase the salaries for our nurses in the hospital, we have standards set for them, and we have regulations for them, and certain things that are expected of them. They're not independent operators, so to speak. And we don't have any control over this nurse getting $35 from the patient, or very little, control. And see, they don't belong to the organization, and they don't have an occupational section. We have less control than we ever had before. We didn't, even when they had an active section, we had difficult trying to set up any kind of standards or regulations, but at least we could say something. But now we don't have any say-so in their practice. And so I don't know why they're looking to us for recognition now, just to support, what this increase in fee. I don't think it's quite right for them to ask the organization when they haven't done their part. Now, I know we have active members in the organization, and I don't know how we can have any say-so over them unless they do elect their officers and do report to us. See, there's no reporting to the board from that group. And if we want to support them, I think that no matter how small they are, I think we could require that they have officers or have somebody to report to the board and to the organization. And in the new bylaws where we may not have the section, they would at least be reporting to somebody or have some representation on the board, I would think, somehow.
I'd like to support Sister Christian's position. I think it's the only logical one we can have, because there's not anything we can do. Well, there's only one question there about it. The insurance companies call the 5th District to know what our rates are, and they challenge the statements that are being sent. And I know that to be a fact because, I have to refer back to the statements that we have printed, that for the private duty section, the section has not been dissolved. It's still there, but it certainly has been most inactive. That's the point. We have 124 members who are still in the private duty section. And the patients, in other words, until we do have something definite, did they propose having, or they told me they wanted to go ahead and reactivate and have a call meeting and elect officers. Yeah, but it's very funny. They don't want to do it. They don't? They want the board of directors to set up the meeting and to go and run it. Well, I made this very clear to her that this could not be done. It would have to be done from the membership of private duty, because we can't go in and call a meeting. Well, Ms. Flynn, I don't know, our parliamentarian can tell us more about it. Ms. Armstrong, and I may be misinformed, but since they had no officer, Ms. Armstrong, as a presiding officer of the district, did have a call meeting, and they didn't have a quorum. And she's postponed some of her activities before she went to Europe, trying to set it up, because they would have no authority to do it, would they, Ms. Lewis? Wouldn't it have to be done by their presiding officer? Unless there was a certain number of them who would decide that they were going to be active. and then they themselves called it. But, who would officiate if they did? Who would have the right? Well, now, this is it. As president, you could go and preside while they elect their officers. I've still got the bundle of material we took down there, ready to take them, everything we had. It's closed down.
Well, why couldn't they just have someone from their own group preside?
They could, I mean, as far as that's concerned, because, like she says, it has not been disbanded. It is still, active, you see, so, it has not been disbanded, so you aren't establishing, a section, you see, so they could go ahead, but if they are in any way think that there's no one to do it, try to keep the group active and keep them together, you could do that and provide for there. My concern more than anything else is not for the group of private duty nurses. It's for the community, the hospitals, and everybody else that's asking us what 5th District is going to do and what must we do. I understand that Piedmont is not going to allow them to go up until they do it properly through the district. Ms. Sexton told them, according to Mrs. Hicks. And Ms. Sexton told me that she did not approve of the club, and she told her members they did not have to belong to any club, that she hoped that they would belong to that professional organization and support it. So the feeling was there that 5th District go ahead and support the group and try to get them reactivated and take a definite stand, more for the community than anything else, because all of them are waiting to hear what we're going to do. The practical nurses, the Ms. Mitchell's registry, and everybody else.
We're discussing the private duty rates and we want to go up to $35 and what we as a board should do about this.
Your request, now for a request to be made to this board, it would have to come through some form of authorization of somebody, and not just one private duty nurse saying, here, we want to do this. That's another thing. They have not made an official request unless they have some form of organized section to vote on it, to make the request to this board. Well, she got the list of the 124 members about 3 weeks ago, and said she's going to start a telephone committee.
She told me this morning.
And waiting to get it verified, to have enough to support it, to do something about it.
This had been quite unsuccessful because she said many of them already belong to the club and would not support the GSNA. So it looks like you're really at a standoff, you know, with the whole situation, because I'm not sure that they would even have enough to elect officers.
And some of them are already apparently charging the fee because of Carolyn's getting calls from insurance companies.
And patients and practicals, and not only here but at my home about it. Even Maggie Weaver, who nursed Dr. Hugh Wood's wife, and she's the nurse Mr. Woodruff's aunt and all. And Maggie is just practical nurse.
This is $35 to
one of the very best, and she said she was
because I
going to
just
hold
heard
off
today
the
they were
other
going up
two.
to 40 from one of them,
And
of the private duty nurse club members.
they didn't even ask us to go to 35. Some of them have already done it, and then they just said they're going to do it September the 1st. So must be some division in the ranks now that some of them are asking us, because some of them apparently have already gone ahead and done it on an individual basis.
Well, that's what they said they wanted to do, to boost membership in that club, to tell them they couldn't get it unless they belonged to the club.
Well, who's
and the
in
registry.
charge of this club?
Well, Nellie K. Harper was supposed to be running it, but it's, right now, it's on an answering service. And I think they're taking volunteers to go down there and manage it. I don't know that there's any law and order about it. All I know is that, when I call, answering service answers, 'cause I call to find out. Well, let me give you this illustration. For a solid year, I've been giving out the number for the practical nurses as Ms. Young's answering service. That's where the practicals were supposed to go when we met with Dr. Dowler, thinking I was doing a community service. Dr. Steve Barnett called frantic and in a hurry, and I gave him all the registry numbers that I knew. He called back and he says, well, that one for the practical nurses, I want you to know, has been discontinued for some time. So then I called you folks, St. Joseph's, Emory, and called around to find out where they were getting the nurses from. What kind of, did they have a practical nurses registry? And there is none, except Mrs. Mitchell, the Negro nurse, who has about 24 nurses, and I understand she does a very excellent
What about the medical
service.
pool?
Well, the medical pool is a syndicated thing there. They charge $42 for an 8-hour shift. But that, I mean, that's something, a business thing, and the doctors have called me about that. So I think that we've got an obligation here to the community and to all these patients that are being victimized. I'm not worried about the bunch of private duty nurses. As far as I'm concerned, I'm one. But they've caused me enough heartache and enough headaches. I'm giving a personal opinion on, but I'm getting the blunt of the cause, and I think something that we should do to take care of the patients.
Where does the authority rest for this in terms of?
Well, in the formalities, we tried to get them to go ahead and to set up a procedure. That was one of the big issues that was voted down. We had the procedure that Louisiana had, the way they would do, and if it didn't go through, they'd wait a certain period of time and then vote it again. But the group voted it out completely. The old form was that if the private duty section presented to the board that the fees would go up, the board approved it, and it became effective at a certain date, and then we circulated it. And 5th District was taken as the standard for the insurance companies, in calling, what is the 5th District rate for private duty nursing? Ms. Lewis, could the 5th District just go on record as advocating a fee? How about it, sister? What do you think about it? For private duty nursing? Since the section hadn't been dissolved?
I feel that if they want us to approve their fees,
They
that
better.
they should reorganize and present it formally before the board, like Ms. Lewis said. And if they, in the meantime, do what they please, they're gonna do what they please anyway, they at least don't have our approval to do as they please.
A group of them could send us a written recommendation.
I think you'd have to see how many. I think it would have to be in some form of an official type thing, in other words, where they met and this was discussed and then, that minimum is 18 to elect officers. That's all they needed, and they only had 6 of them.
Well, I can't see them going into all this. I'm pretty sure, well, I'm not pretty sure, I can envision that come October, the sections will probably be dissolved.
Then they should go into a unit, according to Mr. Hines, to have some official
Right.
spokesman. Well, this could be a stepping stone to that.
If they wanna
You
call
mean
themselves a
disperse-
unit right now, or whatever.
They're supposed to find whichever unit they want to go into, is that correct?
In the new bylaws, could you explain those, Carolyn, how that's gonna function for units on Miss Brown? How the unit's gonna function in the new bylaws?
No, I can't.
There aren't gonna be conference groups,
There will still be conferences.
but units also.
I think those units are formed under the Economic Security Program at the GSNA headquarters. As far as I know, all of the units
Right, and
are.
they're strictly in,
Well,
the
Mr.
area or the hospital in which you work.
Miss
You
Flynn?
see, the units are different than occupational
mhm.
groups.
Well,
How
now-
about Mr. Heiss, who's already authorized to organize units and all? Couldn't you recommend to Ms. Hicks that any of the private duty nurses that wanted to do it?
Then that would be
Organize that
all right.
way
That would be
and
all
let
right.
him officiate and let them elect their officers
That
that
would be
way?
a good way maybe to get them started.
Aren't you talking about two things? You're talking about something that a group wants support of a professional organization as contrasted to something that's an economic negotiating kind of thing. Aren't these two different things?
No, excuse me, no, now this is, instead of being in your occupational sections anymore, that's, the only way that you're gonna be recognized in any form of occupational, setup at all is going to be that maybe, the private duty nurse would have a unit, you see, of private duty nurses. And this is where it was gonna be. Now, the administrators may be under a unit with just administrators and anyone else connected with that. And your units are gonna be set up along that line under this. But as far as sections are concerned, I think really and truly you're swapping the bad man with the witch.
Well, I think what she's saying though, that, I think what you're saying is more to the organization than the economic security program. I think if we throw it into the economic security program, we're gonna have all kinds of problems. And I think it should be handled by the total organization. And if these units that we're going to into new bylaws only mean economic security units, well, if Mr. Heiss is heading it up, this gives it the tone of economic security.
But it is to be not only that part, you're to have all the standards, all of your, educational, features, all of this pertaining to this particular, type occupation you see within this unit.
Well, that's gonna take a lot of education for all of us and a lot of development, and I
yes,
don't think,
it
of
is.
all
It
people, I don't
is.
think the private duty are ready for that big step. I think they need to organize themselves now that are members, somehow, and, cause that other's gonna take a little while to get implemented for all of us. And then get them to have some representation, some reporting to the board.
Well, that's what I was thinking, if the private duty group went ahead and reactivated, even if it's for a short time, it's
That's
gonna
it,
take
we've
time.
had 'em, right.
You won't do anything until the first of the year. And in the meantime, you can't wait another 3 months for your patients to know what to do, or how much to pay when it's running up $5 more a day, or some of them, for instance, Maggie Whelan calling me, both of the nurses she's on with, practical nurses, she's on with one of your patients, you know him, the Mr. Troutman, who's out in the home 12 hours. Well, Maggie doesn't know what to charge, and she's waiting to hear from me what to do. So I feel that if there's any way that we could possibly go ahead and clarify to the public, to the community, or take a stand of what we advocate as a maximum, couldn't we do that?
That's what I wanted.
Because there's no way procedure for us to take care of the fees. They voted it down every time it was presented. Because we got the manual from Louisiana, and it had step by step what to do. They were to meet, who they were to meet with, how it was to be presented, and how it was sent out, and what percentage, and if it failed, how much longer they'd have to wait to go through. Now, today's AJN, they're going up to $38 in Washington, D.C., and understanding that March the 1st, that if the index price goes up, they're going up to $40.
This, Caroline, is sort of like the dilemma that we met in Mac Health. And since I'm this board's representative to Mac Health, maybe I could just tell you briefly what it was. You know, Mac Health has delegates from a number of agencies. It is the Metropolitan Atlanta Community Planning Group for Health. Let's see, the prime object of it is, of course, to utilize resources and so on. Now, they've got to be supported, and the 5 big counties are the main members: Fulton, DeKalb, Cobb, Clayton, Gwinnett. And the county who has not paid their pro rata share for the last 3 years is Cobb County. They are against everything. Cobb County stopped us from having mass transit, you know. They've just been against everything. Well, my report to this board told you of the omnibus family planning bill that was to be financed totally with federal funds to the amount of $500,000 per year for the next 5 years. Cobb County still had not paid their pro rata dues. Their part of the grant was to be, and it was approved nationally, federally. It was to be $50,000 a year federal monies they would get. At the meeting this past month in August, Cobb County still hadn't paid their dues. And it was one of the hardest decisions that board ever made. They even talked about the fact that we're not, you know, taking this away from Cobb County, but from individual patients. There were some there, you know, some of the men, it's just a joy to work with the men. Now, they had some women too, but they laughed and said, you know, this is music and roses. Cobb County has not paid. Cobb County should not participate. And when the vote was put on the floor by Dr. Scoble, the psychiatrist, he said it's no need. He said very simple. They have not paid. They are not members. They shall not have their $50,000 till they pay their rate, their pro rata share. Well, all the Cobb County people who had continued to come, one of them spoke up, but the hospital administrator at Kennestone's a member. There were 3 from Cobb County, and they made pleas that Cobb County not lose their part. And Dr. Scoble, who made the resolution, offered it, and it passed, said, no problem. When you pay your part of the dues, you know, you will be a member and can participate. That's one of the requirements for getting the grant. And Cobb County group said, you know, there's just one county commissioner, Mr. Barrett, who would not do it. He simply is, you know, dislikes big Atlanta. So as soon as the thing passed, and I voted as your representative not to give it to them until they had paid it and done what the rest had done. Those 3 members got up and left, and it was a very, you know, people were calling hither and yon, and oh, it was a great deal of trauma. But Cobb County has now paid their members, and they are reinstated and are, you know, in good odor, and they will get their $50,000. But some of the men said, now look, so this is the only thing we have against them. They blocked everything we wanted to do. They not going to get the good and keep us, you know, from getting all of it. And this, to me, is a little bit like it. They want, the private duty would like to say we're behind them and recommend it. Now, they haven't paid it. They have done us in. We haven't gotten membership. Now they want us to come and back them up. And it seems to me very much like Cobb County did the others. Maybe you will not agree. And I wish that they didn't do this way.
We might be speaking for 1 or 2 or 3 private duty nurses, even the ones that are full paid up members, unless they got together and we had democratic feeling from the group, we would know how they felt.
I almost wish we could open up, you know, this whole question for the entire group to vote on.
I wish you could too, because if we don't, we're gonna need to have a call meeting. That's gonna be $60 worth of postage. I'm thinking about it every time. We can add out a little bit, you know.
There's no reason why this board can't give it to the organization to do it. I mean, if you want to know if it can be done or not.
Why should we do it? I mean, I don't want to be dumb about it, But why should we give them backing for raising their dues?
I thought, I'm not saying we should, I'm not, I thought we were being asked to support something, to state a position. Do you think we should have a position?
Well, I thought we were saying that we were giving them support for raising the dues.
That's what they were asking.
That's what they were asking.
That's what they were asking.
Well, we would be quoted then as supporting it, and that's the same thing, is it not?
Of these people, we would be either supporting or not supporting. What percentage are members of GSNA?
124. We had 500 when I came in 10 years ago.
And
Half of the
124
members
private
still was
duty
private
period.
duty. Right now, on your report that I've given you today, you have 124. They are the ones that we...
Can I say something off the record? Would you cut?
It's still informal, so we
Oh,
don't need to.
you know,
Yes. The meeting of Fifth District Board of Directors is now in session.
God our Father, we ask your direction as we begin another year of work for our professional organization. Guide us in our efforts and help us to accomplish our goals. We ask your blessing on each member present in their activities. We ask these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Set a roll call.
Mrs. Lott. Miss Mary Gramlich.
Gammon.
Sister Christine. Jackie Bridge. What is the, she was declared?
Not quite.
Mrs. Rittenhouse.
Where do you work?
Miss Rouse. Miss Armstrong. Rose McGee. Excuse. Mrs. Stanley. Mrs. Burns. Have you heard from Mrs. Burns?
not aware, nothing about sections or anything.
Mrs. Fitzpatrick. Mrs. Langford is here. Mrs. Peacock.
We have, the chair declares, what do I declare?
Just bring this up and they can go and say, pleasure. I'm starting this another one. You've been here for 5.
Mrs. Graves has not been here for 5 meetings, and as the bylaws has stipulated, she has, whether she knows it or not, she has tendered her resignation. What is your pleasure?
What are our choices?
Shall we declare this office vacant, or shall we not? It's either or.
I move we declare it vacant.
Okay, are there any objections? Hearing none, office Board of Directors Jackie Graves is declared vacant. We have established a quorum. Are there any corrections to the minutes of May 11th? Hearing no corrections, accept the minutes of May 11th as circulated. I would like to thank each of you for everything you've done this year, and I would especially appreciate your patience and understanding, because we have had some very trying times, and we have attended some meetings where we didn't have a quorum and sat for 45 minutes. So you all are very much appreciated. The other things that we really need to consider, and within the next 2 weeks we'll have another meeting to set up some committees. I encourage each of you to think about some sort of a motto for this year. We need to earn on our own somewhere in the vicinity of $10,000 now for this organization to continue. I don't think we can depend on outside help any longer. So I expect an awful lot from the working committees this year. We have to get out there and shake the bushes. Unless we can come up with about 1,000 new members, we are going to be in very, very sad financial difficulty. And I say this with tongue-in-cheek. This year we have 833 members, and that is just not enough. Do you have a report, Ms. Dillon? The treasurer's report?
I have the audit report for the year ending December 31st, 1969. Our auditors just completed the report. We realize it's very late in being completed, and Carolyn spoke to me about it. We've had this company, how long?
10 years more.
10 years or more, and I think they're a very, very reliable company. I think part of the situation is that we have such a small account, and they probably do their large accounts, and maybe somehow we could, at least inform them that we would like better service. Of course, it's the privilege of the board to choose someone else if they so wish, but I do think that, and maybe Ms. Lewis knows, I think it's a real reliable firm, and we might find out so why they has been such a delay. And I also have we haven't met, since June. I have June, July, and August reports, and I don't know whether I have to read them all, Miss Lewis, or could I pass the two around and read August, or how would that be? It's a lot of reading.
I think we can give just more or less a lump
Okay.
thing, and then if there are any questions, we can
Okay, well, let me just give you the highlights on at least, let me give you the audit report, because I do think that you need to know how we stood in December of '39 as far as the audit and as far as our budget. The budget for 1970, our projected budget was $16,000, $16,765.50. And we were audited, we spent $16,766.19. So our projected budget was really close. I think that kind of gives you a frame of reference of the fact that we did meet the budget, and that it was just by the skin of our teeth. In the year of the ending '69, our revenues, of course, the highest revenue were the dues, which were $10,659.96. And the minor things were subscriptions and interest and miscellaneous. And then we do have a donation of a fund to the organization, and Ms. Flynn has referred that maybe we ought to try to be out on our own, but we had a $6,000 donation, which brought the revenues to $17,825.17. And the expenditures for the year were the American Nurses Association dues of $174. The salary was $7,800, flowers $95.69, and rent $852. And the American Journal of Nursing subscription $77. Telephone and answering service $734.48. Postage and mailing and miscellaneous expenditures is one of the largest. That's $1,096.04. Legal and audit is $200. We paid this firm $200 to audit, which isn't very much money to a big firm. And this, I think it's enough for our small accounts, but this may be why part of the delay. Entertainment and awards were at $75. Section expenses, wait a minute. Entertainment and awards $1,041.72.
Now, that's those demos, sister, that people paid for $400 and $500 worth, when we had
So we were
the dinner
reimbursed for
in
that.
December. In other words, it's something that we paid, But it's in
Yeah, we're reimbursed for that figure, which, thanks Carolyn, that's not brought out there, because we pay for our own banquets each year. So a little bit, not too much of that would be.
awards didn't amount to $100.
Okay. And the section expenses are very minimum. They were just 75 last year. Then the printing expenses, $1,947.26, and that includes the meter. And the insurance is $200, and payroll taxes were $538.40, and the office and secretarial expenses were $1,336.06, and miscellaneous and expenses $534.59, which brought the total to $16,766.19. And the excessive revenue over expenditures was $1,058.98, so we just got a little over $1,000 over expenditures. And the balance on hand, December the 31st, 1969, was $4,721.10. The assets for the organization, our general fund, was $2,100.03, and the nurses savings account at the Atlanta Federal, we do keep a small savings account, was $1,157.40, and the office change fund was $25, which brought that to $3,282.43. And then as far as assets, we still have some office furniture, I believe, that belong to the registry, and that's $1,651.63. So the total assets are $4,934.06. And then under liabilities, we just have the payroll taxes withheld and the nurses' equity, and that's a total of $4,934.06. So if you'd like to, look at this, because that's a lot of figures. And then we will present shortly the budget for next year, and you can kind of compare it. In June, why don't we just give you the balance brought forward from May was $1,716.92, and the receipts for membership dues and AJN subscriptions for that month were $684, which brought the total receipts to $2,401.72, and the disbursements were the usual things that I read from the audit: rent, salary, telephone, postage, and printing. And expenses for that month were $949.99. And what we had clear that for that month was $1,515.22. And then July brought forth from June was $1,466.73. And the receipts for that month went for $6,229.29. And the total receipts, including the balance brought forward, is $7,696.02. And what we had clear for the month there is $6,577.84 after the disbursements. And then on August, the balance brought forward from July was $6,472.20. And the receipts for that month were only $182.61. And the total receipts, including the balance brought forward, brings to $6,654.81. And after the disbursements for the month, we had clear in the bank with the checks that were out $2,429.64. So of August 1970, we have $2,429.64. And in the federal savings, we have $3,182.25. And we have a small special account. Well, it's not so terribly small, but from the convention last year, it's $1,648.95. And the board at that time agreed to just let that stay as it is right now and not use it. So that's the figure for that. So these will be placed on file. Or the audit. Okay. We have to, I move the acceptance of the audit report for 1969. ending, year ending 1969.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor, accepting the audit, say aye.
None.
Opposed? The audit has been accepted. The treasury reports for June, July, and August will be filed for audit for 1970. Thank you. Did you want to do the
budget.
the budget
Well,
while we're here?
that's the next thing on the agenda is the approval of the budget for 1970-71, and, well, what year we got, 19...
We're doing it for 1971.
7 January, right, 1971. We're not on a fiscal year. It's a calendar year for January 1971. Mrs. Monk, we had hoped she'd be here. She's the chairman of the Finance Committee, and we had a meeting this past week, and with Carolyn's help, and we drew up the proposed budget. It is very, very similar to last year's budget. We'll give each of you a copy. The total for last year's budget was $16,765.50. That was proposed. And for this year, we proposed $16,899.50. So we just juggled a few figures around and tried to keep within the same total of expenditures, especially since the audit shows that that's what it cost us to.
$134 difference.
Yeah, okay, thanks. We need some.
That rent is the first time in 10 years they've gone up, in case any of them ask about it. We've been there since 1959, and this is the first time they've made any increase. $9.
The rent was 71, and it's gone up to 80.50 per month, which isn't a whole lot of increase. The telephone we left the same. The bulk mailing fee we left the same. Audit we left the same. Postage and mailing. We left that the same, didn't we?
Yes, because we held out on it. We put it for $1,200 last year, and we spent $1,000 this year, so we thought the $200 would cover it.
Okay. And then the legal counsel is $100. We can't pay Ms. Lewis for her services. That looks very small to me. Well, parliamentarian is $300. That's still very small for what Ms. Lewis gives us. She comes to every meeting, the board and the general meeting. She has not asked for an increase. I don't know what we do. And then the legal counsel. Because she goes bankrupt. And the legal counsel is if we need legal counsel, we put 100 in, and we didn't use that last year, but that would be very little if we really needed counsel. So let's hope we don't need counsel. And then we didn't give Carolyn an increase this year either. We would like to, of course, but with the cost of things, but this year it is the same as last year right now. And the office supplies, we did put that up to $1,400 from $1,000. That secretarial services and operating, according to the audit, we did use more than $1,000 last year, but we saved in other areas, so we increased that to $1,400. And the employee Social Security, had to be increased to $374 from $350. We don't have any control over that. Insurance and bond treasurer and executive secretary, these fees to bond us, instead of $63, which was last year, it's $88. So that wasn't much of an increase. The answering service is the same. City and county tax is 66 instead of 45. Thank you. We reviewing the budget, we're way down right now to the city and county tax. And then the rent of our safety deposit box is the same, and the flowers that we give to the friends of the organization, we left at 100. Carolyn said she didn't think we needed any section expenses, so we deleted that $90, and she'll help them out if they need it, but she doesn't feel like that they most everything goes through the office,
We paid for
right?
all that postage and all, and we
Postage and
were
all.
just giving them $15, and when it came time for the $15, we didn't have a 44 in the treasurer, so they could get it this year. I didn't get my salary on the first.
And, then the convention expense, we left that at 200 for the, Carol, where'd you, that's gonna be in Albany?
Albany.
Albany, so we felt maybe the 200 would cover that. And then the expense account, travel for the offices, we left that the same. And entertainment and awards, we left the same. Miscellaneous, we left the same. And printing, we went from 600 to 1,000. And then the office equipment, we left, we may not need anything, but it's good to put something in there in case we have a breakdown. And we didn't, I believe, use it last year. Then where we saved $700 is the A&A convention, because it's not being held this year, it's biannual. So we saved $700 there. So this is the proposed budget. And I move that the board would accept the proposed budget, then it goes to the organization for acceptance on Thursday.
Is there a second so we can debate it? Second. Who seconded it? I did. Second. I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Do we need a director?
A director.
A directory.
All right. Do you know how much that directory cost us?
I know what it costs.
I sold $400 in ads. Now, we've got, we've got a $50 account left over that they owe us if we need a pen. But it actually doesn't cost very much in the long run, about not more than 300 at the very most. And I think every other year we ought to have a director, but I would say not full with the supplement that I've just done this year. For this reason, I worked as hard as if you'd had a directory, because I had not only the 590 that changed addresses last year, but 272 to start on this year, and before I could get the numbers in, 51 had changed them again. So I would say let's do the directory every other year when we don't go to conventions. So see, it's supposed to be delivered now, and it's supposed to be in the office, but I don't have it. But we didn't sell $125 of ads for that, and it's only 8 pages. The other one was 24. I mean, these are just the changes, the people that were not included, and the new people, and the people transferred here in the supplement.
Now, well, I guess what I'm thinking about, Carolyn, is I would much rather, from just my own personal point of view, see a state directory than I would a district. I think, if this might be something we could suggest to the state organization is coming up with, because when I think of the hours and the time that's spent and the mobility of our population right now, by the time you get through, as you said, the group once, you go back and there's numerous changes.
Most of the time, we've sold enough ads to completely cover it. But this time, we would have had to go on to 4 more pages, which would cost us that much more, and then it would have lost. I believe, I can't tell you positively how much we sold, but around $400 in ads. Now, we swapped 2. We swapped flowers with Betty Longley, and then we swapped piano. You know the piano we got from your man when we had it. So anyway, we've got $50 on the piano.
No, I was just raising the
And
question.
I would suggest to the group that we not have a supplement again, and I heartily agree, because 3 weeks I poured over that supplement, and I don't think that.
Does the state do a directory for the state at all, or
No,
does each
no.
district? I do think Ms. Finn's got a good point. If the state would do it rather than each district, it would certainly be more economical.
See, we're the
I
only
think.
group that comes out with a directory, I think.
It is nice to have the information.
Well, first,
I know,
the state would take it
To me, that has been one of the most valuable
Yeah, I
things.
think
We've had more compliments on the director than anything we've done, anything.
It's a nice piece of
It's
reference
beautifully
material,
done.
too. It's nice reference, too, if you want to look up somebody. that-
Right.
Well, let's just agree that we just do it every other year. The years we don't have the convention. Because it ought to be done early. You see, I had to wait till after we got back, because we didn't have but the $44. And I wasn't sure, that we could even get it printed. Then when we got back starting on, we got the check on July the 4th. But I went to the post office town to get it so it wouldn't stay on the floor. Put it in the postal office there, safe deposit till Monday. And you see, we didn't start it till July, and it's being delayed. I'd go along with you, let's just have it every other year.
As long as we're on directories, I feel like that one thing that every nurse should be entitled to is a copy of those that are registered in the state. Used to, when we paid $1 registration, we received a roster every year. And now we paid $3, no one can ever get a roster of the nurses that are registered in the state of Georgia.
They didn't print for 300, and they almost wouldn't let me have one.
Well,
Said
this
they're
is what
selling
I'm
the
saying.
hospital. I said, well, that's quite all right with me. I'll call you every day. And I got one.
Well, now you can, but there are others of us in our
know.
work who need them, and there is not a way in the world
I
at
wish
this
you
time.
told me they send me about 3 every year.
They used to send me that many, but they
All you
didn't
have to
want
do is call.
Oh, no.
Not this year. 300.
I got one of my calls.
Well, I've called every year, and I have. The one I refer to now is 1957, and I'll tell you, that's the most recent one I can get
If
my
I
hands
can
on.
find one, I'll bring you one, 'cause I may have thrown one out. They sent so many. I don't think I did. I sent them to the library or put them
We got
somewhere,
one for the
but
purposes of a reunion about 8 months ago.
let's see if I can find one.
We just
for you.
called and they sent them.
We'll do your directory every other year, if that's the wish.
Is there other discussion about the budget?
Madam President, I think we've got to face facts. We've had a $6,000 gift, and if we can't expect that another year, I think we have to recognize the fact that we have an anticipated income of $8,110, and we have a budget of twice that much, approximately. I think we ought to discuss the facts of life and not just go blindly into another year, like the registry did, that went under.
Well, if we can't make the budget, we can't spend it. I think, I agree with you, that we should plan, and all of us plan. But if we don't strive for something and set a budget that would be necessary to keep the headquarters open, I mean, when the time comes, we have no more money, we know we're gonna have to make some changes. So I think the thing to do is go ahead and set our budget for what we strive for, and then do something about it, instead of sitting back here and doing nothing about it. I feel very strongly about that, because no one's more concerned with this budget than I am.
Now, I get very uneasy too, as well, about spending money that we just don't have right now. And as I said earlier, unless we can come up with some pretty sharp ways to make about $10,000, we're going to be in very, very sad shape. And that's going to take a lot of work. But I really think it's time this district got up and did something. You know, we've been inactive now for since the last big battle with the private duty nurses. We really have
The
been.
committees have been inactive, they have
Committees this
meetings.
year have
They've
been
left it up to the
meeting.
executive secretary to carry all the refreshments in, lug all the papers in, lug all the things, and then worry about having enough money to keep going on. So I'm with you. If we don't do something about it by next year, when the time comes and the money gets low, then I'm very definite it's time for us to do something drastic.
I think we've really got to work on some money-making projects of some kind.
And you certainly can't expect, I don't know where you could cut it. I know I wouldn't work there for less, because I'm doing poor people's work. And the beginning salary in most of the places that we find that have good salaries are $720. And I'm supposed to be a director, or at least an executive, or something. You certainly, I would not take a cut. So if y'all can find anything else on here that you'd like to cut, especially since I've had to get out and get the money for the last 3 years to keep us going, then I'd like some suggestions there. I will not
Can we
take
stop
cuts.
just a minute? Merle, do you have anything earth-shaking?
It's the report of the membership committee. Caroline said she'd read it for me when it comes down.
Thank
Also the report from the Mac Hill. I am Ferris, I heard, but I've got a 6 o'clock meeting out on
So we're really left with the decision whether to try to cut this budget as it is, or to accept it and work toward it and say a lot of prayers, really, in the meantime, that we can come up with some dollars.
I don't see how we can cut it if we can operate. I think
Not
we
at
just
all. I
have to
think we
face
just
the
go on and
reality
close it
of,
right now and be through with it if you're not gonna
of,
work to do it.
either operating or not operating, and then, you know, we have to have a budget plan if we're gonna do anything. And just to try to do something, everything we possibly can to meet the budget, or otherwise we're not gonna operate anyway.
We have done, I think, real well on new members this year, which we've gotten more than a tenth of new members.
More than one.
A tenth, you know,
Oh, are you in?
of new members. But we didn't retain our old, so I don't know what we can do, you know.
Well, we really haven't gained anything.
I think you encourage, though, because the indications are that people are going to come back. I have not had as much encouragement from members as recently in talking to them, the administrators, the old people who are happier with the economic security program than they have been previously. And we've had a lot of private duty ones say they're coming back, but they realize that they've missed being in the association. So I'm going to be optimistic, and I can promise you when the money's out, oh, well, we're not going to talk about it. Let's just go ahead and get it. This is a community thing. I don't think many of you people realize how vital we are and how we're needed right now of the people in calling our office staff, and what a mecca Atlanta is for imposters, and how many credentials are being stolen, and the screening of nurses. And I think right now we're letting our community down, both the doctors and the nursing, and not establishing something in regards to these rates and doing something about that, and giving them a community registry. I spend 3 hours on Saturday trying to find a nurse for somebody. Oh, I get calls at midnight, let me get in a good movie. Somebody's got to have nurses, and they've called everybody they know. I mean, I feel like all of us have an obligation here, and I feel it very strongly, so I won't speak anymore. That's all. But we need a district and headquarters if we're a big medical center. But we need them to go to meetings and need them to participate and be there and give reports and let us know if they're going to accept a committee or accept an obligation there, and not leave it up to just a few of them. Because I've been time and time to committees and we wouldn't have a quorum. And you can't carry a district like that without support. We've got just one more thing to take, girls.
Are you ready for the vote, or would you want to discuss this further? Those in favor of accepting the budget, say aye. As stated. Opposed? Does this have to be a unanimous vote? The ayes have it. I'd like to add, I'm supposed to do this. Now that you've accepted this budget, I hope every one of you who have voted yea, and I expect you to produce, and we've got to come up with $16,000.
This goes to
Membership.
It's almost
Yeah, this has to go to the organization for their approval.
Was
On Thursday.
One of the things that you have on the resolution from the board to the meeting Thursday.
Okay, report of the executive secretary.
You have a little tight one on mine. I think most of you know
Are
we've
you
been busy.
Will there be copies to distributed to?
No, if she's there, Ms. Monk would read it, and then if not, I guess Sister Christian, you would read it, wouldn't you? It'll be on the agenda. We have extra copies.
I hope
But we
Ms.
don't
Monk
have
can
300 or
come.
400. We never have had that many for them. I made 120 copies in all, because I thought I'd send one to each director when I sent out the application blanks. I thought it just show them that we have 5,002 nurses here, and 4,196 do not belong. And I broke them down with active, inactive. I didn't have enough of these, just had 100 of them. So this will be sent with the applications and the membership material and the posters to go on the bulletin board, showing our need and what the budget's for, and hoping that it will tell them more than we can tell them in words.
Bylaws, Margaret's away.
There are no changes advocated until after the state meeting. We will have automatically, Ms. Lewis, and that's correct, we have to do A&As and they go in.
Ms. Wells, you have anything from ethical?
I sent the report in.
She has it, the secretary has it.
Written report. Ms. Monk's finance, we've covered her report for the budget. Carol Rittenhouse with legislation.
She has a report in that too.
Murlock.
She had 3 meetings, November, January, and May, and she said the aim orients ourselves as to the duties of membership committee, contact all eligible nurses within the district to promote knowledge of the Georgia State nurses. 3, to increase the number of nurses in membership role. Accomplishment committee spent first meeting in discussing problems relating to becoming a member, reasons for joining or not joining, and then second, each committee member assigned specific hospitals, health agencies, and all to contact. The problems, objection number 3, not accomplished. In other words, we didn't get our quota of members. Number of members in active participation in the 5th district, not in ratio to paid members of the 5th district. Suggestions, same as previous years. 2, the committee feels, may not be actually true, that schools of nursing are not stressing professional membership sufficiently. Many faculty members are not active in the district. Many nurses who hold important jobs in agencies, so forth, are not active. And she also suggests that we encourage private duty nurses to join and regroup. We do have 90 that should be approved. You received all the list except 9 that went through the state, and that list is attached to your report today. And at this time, I think it's in order that we approve the 90 new members. That dates from July. We haven't had a meeting since July of the membership committee. But all were certified and all have been cleared to the A&A. It's a matter of filling the bylaws that we approved.
We need to ratify
Yes,
the action
that's it.
of the
90 new
committee on,
90 new members.
we need to elect 90 new members, 90 new people to membership. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 90 new members to membership.
And we do have quite a number, 7 or 8 at least, 100% awards. If any others know about them, they'll let us know. All of these are health agencies that will be presented Thursday. Yes, excuse me.
Do you all know what this 100% award is? Is that all?
That's all.
Esther Pierce nomination, she's left, she's in New York.
I wrote a report for her, and it was the ballot, which you've already seen.
Ann Rosenell,
No report.
program,
I wrote one for Miss Crawford, and all of you have attended them, so they all are the ones that we've had during the past year.
public relations, and liaison.
Oh, the committee chairman resigned. They had one meeting in December, so we haven't had the best coverage this year, and I tried to fill in with the TV and newspaper, and I strongly recommend that we get an active committee just once out of the last 25 years. We have not had one to carry through.
I'll agree with you there. Special Representative Mrs. Locke has no report.
She left us a report, but it's quite comprehensive, and also I believe since many of you are going to have to leave, maybe just wait and read it at
At
the
the meeting.
other meeting.
Mhm.
With your consent.
She's there, she would read it.
Yes.
Right. Model cities, that's me, and the Model Cities program for the summer has sort of been stifled. The residents are refusing to come to the Model Cities Committee because the committee has not been doing, quote, what they want to do. So right now we're it's just another one of those state of minds, I guess. So we'll see what happens there. Maybe the fall things will perk up a bit. EACT, Millie's not here. Catherine? Administrators?
Well, I regret that I have not been able to get my report written. I have really been working 10 and 12 hours a day all summer. Really, we really had a busy summer. But I will have it written for the meeting Thursday. We have had a meeting on each month that we had designated, and we also had an executive committee meeting for the recommendations for the nominations for the 5th District voting. We have certainly we had some less enthusiasm this past year, but as Carolyn mentioned a while ago, I believe that I feel a little bit more of interest being revived, and I'm hoping that we'll have a good meeting on the 6th of October. We are planning one. Miss Woodall has a plan for it. She's our program chairman at present. When we have our election officers too on the 6th of October.
Lewis has to go away. I would like to jump to new business and reach some decision as to what we should do about the private duty nurses, which we can legally do.
I'm writing motions, don't have patience with me.
While she writes, may I tell the other girls about this for the benefit of you that came in late? This was our directive from A&E, and they only sent us 200 of them on how to fill out your membership. We have new forms. You have one. And so we took our little last year's form to Belong and tried to make it eye-catching with the A&E colors they have on their stationery and the pertinent information about 5th District, so they wouldn't have to call about sections and all. And I think we're very pleased with it. It just came in this morning, and I believe it'll help us in our recruitment. See, this is very nondescript, just one little old piece of paper. And Mr. Hudson said, go ahead and print anything you want to on there. We had to put the information on the fees, how much the dues were, where to mail them, and then also the 6 months period of a new graduate after getting her license. Now that's something that was left up to the states, but Georgia didn't make any decision about it. We had no directive about it, so we had to clear it with him. And it is 6 months from the time they receive their license. And I think that very definitely we're going to have to use it. We're going to use it.
This should be a masterpiece. It's not really. I don't know what it says, everything I want to say in that. I move that the matter of private duty fees be tabled until the 5th District GSNA private duty nurses organize their group sufficiently enough to obtain the vote of the majority of their members regarding the increase of fees to be recommended to the board. It needs to be edited a little bit, doesn't it?
Change one word from table to postpone.
Okay.
Is there a second to the motion? All in favor of this motion, say aye.
Let me say what I was trying to say, and I wasn't saying it clearly when Mrs. Lott was speaking. What I was wondering was that I agree with this in terms of what we have decided to do, but in the meantime, is there a position? This is what I was hearing Carolyn saying. Do we have to take a position, and since she's having a lot of calls?
Well, we tell them no action has been taken
That's
since
all.
August the 15th, 1968.
Wouldn't our
Why don't we
position
go a
be,
step further though, Carolyn, and say that since these are private practitioners, they are allowed to set their own rates?
Start advocating that, and some of them will do it, 30 and 50 and whatever, and all beyond.
Well,
that.
isn't that all right if they're private practitioners?
Well, then insurance companies
Will not honor them.
won't honor
They'll
it.
challenge,
It's not
challenge it.
official body.
We might tell them that the private duty nurses are in the process of reactivating their group, and when some specific motion is received from them, the board will act accordingly. I mean, that's what I've been
Yeah,
telling
that's
them.
what
I guess what I
That's
thought-
what I've been telling them. In other
I
words,
thought you were wanting
that
something.
we had nothing definite, that no action had been taken, that we were going to have a board meeting on Tuesday. I did not know whether any recommendations had been received by the president, but thus far, no action had been taken, and when action was taken, that all health agencies and hospitals would be notified.
I guess
And
my point was, I was thinking about our image with the public. I thought you were making a plea in terms of protecting the
I
public.
am.
And I was wondering what kind of a statement could be made to the public regarding this.
Well, the patients, one of them had a nurse since last May, and she said without any warning whatsoever, she got a bill retroactive to September the 1st, and it was the 3rd, and she says, I am not going to pay it. And-
Well, I guess all I'm making a plea for is something that comes out, that we
Yes.
support each other, and yet, I mean, since it is nursing, do you know what I'm trying to
Yes,
say
I
in
do.
terms of the image?
I think you're
these
just
are the kind of...
would our position be what it was? We have not changed it. We did at one time have a position when the private duty went out of, the organization, you might say. And we did have a fee, which is on our old bill heads. That's what it was then. It has not been changed. Would not it be that until such time as it was officially changed?
That's right. That's
It
all they have
actually,
to
Miss
say.
Elder,
As far as our group's position is concerned,
it changed on
Right.
August the 15th, 15 days after the registry closed. And until this year, we had not printed statements with the new changes. But officially, the private duty section with the sanction of the board went up to the $30 8-hour shift.
Well, that makes sense to me. I mean,
seems to me, I mean, that's what it is until it's changed.
No, I think that's a good point. They also asked me to set up a meeting. Now, I don't know what to do about that. Because if we set up a meeting, that means more postage for us. Private duty, they do things for me.
Well, I'll have to have a meeting to carry through this motion, I think. I mean, it could be a referendum, but I think that'd be kind of bad.
Ask her to
I
give
think
you
they
in
need a
writing
meeting.
18 members, which would form a quorum.
I put a majority of their of the group should express themselves, I think, somehow. Because I don't think 18 members should, I mean, if that's a quorum and that's a meeting, but I really feel like their members need to be polled somehow, and we should hear from the majority of them. We haven't heard from them.
No, we
I'm
haven't.
sure they don't vote for it, but I do think it's important to hear from them, because, and the majority would be what, one over half, and that's the majority.
We could send out a
124.
double card if you wanted to, sister.
But I think they probably ought to have a meeting anyway.
Which means
Well, if
that
they've asked
I'll
for a
be
meeting,
And-
deciding
ought
at
to.
this
And
meeting,
about
is that right?
yeah, and if they know it's about their fees, your wages, they'll be there. You won't have any trouble getting
No, they
51.
won't.
Please, Mr. Custer, I don't wanna go.
Madam Chairman, they want 2 meetings, one in the morning, one in the evening, so everybody can attend.
Well, they can't do that,
Well,
no. They can't have 2 separate meetings.
They have done it. You don't know about
Well,
Did they write you or did they call you?
they called me bright and early this morning.
Well, I think we ought to, that's probably what they want to meet about, is their fees.
If they could do the work and you could be in attendance, or if you couldn't, your vice president or whoever would represent the organization.
Wait,
But somebody should do the work
yeah, well.
besides you.
Right, right. It was very interesting this morning. I asked her why a group of them didn't get together and call a meeting. And her answer was that she didn't want to be the reason it should flop. I said, well, neither do I. So I don't know. Well, I'll talk to her and see what we can come up with. I'll let you know. Do we have any other new business while we're on new business?
If I may speak, I think I've taken over this meeting, but I guess Carolyn activated me because we met with the finance, but we spend so much time in here appointing committees for the year that I suggested that Carolyn give a little handout at the 5th District meeting on Thursday to ask who is interested and try to get people ahead of time at the meeting or people at work that you know interested, because all of y'all are standing here with me, I think, and it's just really torture. And if somehow or another we could get people to let us know at the meeting on Thursday if they're interested, and try to encourage them to be interested, because you just hand out the card and don't, try to get it back that day, because they ought to know right then and there whether they're interested or not. So let's try to get the cards back at the meeting, and then maybe give them some extra ones to take back to their place of employment and present them to the board for the next board meeting, because we try to pull them out of our hat. We don't know whether they're going to accept or not, and it just takes us out. If anybody can think of a better way or add to this or something, we need to do something.
I think that little form that we had last year helped an awful lot.
It did help them. We could do that again.
Do that again.
I think if we ask them to give them back that night and give them a few extra ones to take to their people, maybe it'd even be a little better this year.
I noticed in the Journal today, just quickly after I got through with all of this and the telephone calls and all, trying to collect my thoughts, one of the states there had what they call a 50-50 club. They went ahead and got 50% of their money for the association and 50 for the other. I think everybody's coming up with new ideas, something like that, and we just have just as many smart nurses right here. I mean, I very definitely feel we need a real active campaign this fall. Instead of a friendship dinner, let's just get in and
I'd like to sponsor something big.
Membership dinner, maybe.
I don't know what's big.
Bring a new member dinner.
We could do something in the arts or, something a little bit different without spending too much money.
I've
We have a
always
couple of
had the
days.
feeling that part of our goals as an organization, one is, of course, to screen the membership so that the public are assured that they're getting somebody with proper credentials if they come through this district. I think that's one of the prime goals of this district. Also, I think educational and programs, to me, would be the most interesting for meetings rather than details, organizational details. To me, that would attract me as a new member, so I'm just throwing it out for whatever it might happen to be worth.
This is,
And
I think our business
If the
meetings have been
programs
pretty
could be
dull,
agencies and so forth.
Because in all reality, there isn't much that the membership has to do with the real business, you know, all those
No,
little
I have to go to the meeting tomorrow on that.
details.
I don't know why they include me, because I haven't had follow-up from either one of them, the Southeastern Surgical Congress. Do y'all have any suggestions, anything you'd like to have on the programs? You'd like us to tell them about? It'll be tomorrow.
Maybe we could have a booth over there for membership. I
You
think we
have-
can do that, would you?
Yes. It's
Yeah.
gonna,
Have a
it's gonna
booth
be
over
down,
That's a
there
good idea.
For membership.
well, the meeting's gonna be down in Miami,
Well,
Congress.
This
Oh.
time is, I've forgotten, I've gotten a notice too, and a lot of times it's here in Atlanta.
Atlanta, this is the past time.
Well, even
This
down
spring.
there.
Well, yes, surely.
Well, I don't know that that would be so good if it was in Miami, second thoughts. But maybe we could capitalize on some of the nursing meetings that are here in Atlanta to have membership booths. I think though it's been really the people we need to reach that we have lost, and I've said it to the state too, are the directors of nursing in our major hospitals. If we don't have them with us, we're not gonna have membership. And I don't know, maybe we could do something special for them this year, like invite them out to dinner. Maybe the board could, invite them. But we do need to reach them, because that's where most of our membership comes from. And, they have really pretty much left us.
Well, I think also the administrators of the hospital, somehow I feel like if we could get together with them and our directors and the key people and all of our health agencies and rededicate our efforts toward harmony and understanding each other, that we've got to work with each other.
Well, the link to nursing to the administration is the director of nursing, and her philosophy, she's gonna get over to the administrator, that's her job. And I think that we need to reach her first and let her.
And I feel the schools of nursing might have very much to
Well,
offer.
we do try, but they
That
go out
would
into
be-
nursing service and they pick up attitudes from,
Maybe not membership,
Nursing
but I mean education-wise.
I think they need to know about the professional organization, the undergraduates.
we try to tell them, but, when there's students, all of ours, we make belong to SNAG, but, they need something more than that. They need to see the nurses, they imitate the nurses that they work with when they go out into the profession, and they listen to them. And you just like your voice is kind of outnumbered when they go out and with their fellow nurses. And so this is the real strong. But see, they don't really join the students. They don't join until they're practicing.
What is this?
We really haven't given them much reason to join Fifth District lately, really.
Yeah, I tried to get them over to meetings sometime in the auditorium in years past, and we went over there and hassled about private duty. You've just lost.
Sister, that time down in your basement there, when we had open house and had all those groups and those
Yeah.
demonstrations, you had 500 visitors that day. When I got there at 9 o'clock that morning, we had at least 7 or 8 schools with young girls interested in nursing as careers.
That was good.
And I'm all in favor of something like that. I mean, I just feel like that was one of the best programs that we've ever had.
So we did get student participation better than ever before. We could do something like that again.
Is there other new business?
Her suggestion that the board need to sponsor a dinner for the,
Directors of nursing.
I beg
The directors of
directors
nursing.
of nursing. I wonder if we could pursue that. Do you think that,
I
as
think
the members of the
needed.
board, that we, could Dutch treat that group at some dinner meeting?
What do you think, Ms. Fitzpatrick?
Well, I think that certainly would be, it really would be a step that might hopefully draw their interest back to it.
There's one thing, the NSA section usually draws a good many, directors of nurses.
How's that working right now, though?
That,
Did it,
the
was
NSA,
it functioning last year?
group.
Well, we had, some members, at every meeting we had more, at our Christmas meeting, I guess, and last October meeting was a good meeting when we elected officers, but we had a very poor meeting in April, a very poor meeting. And,
How many of the actually directors are there? Are they mostly supervisory or head nurse people?
well, I believe probably not more than one or two for each meeting. I think the meeting in February. I guess we had two. That meeting was two, and one in April. And we had one that had dropped out entirely, but she's back. But she promised me that she'd be at the meeting
We
next.
might send a special invitation to all directors of nursing and invite the board members to an NSA section dinner meeting. Pay their own way, you know.
Yeah, that might be good to combine it.
But that would be a dinner meeting that's already set up.
Uh-huh.
And
Just
then,
a bar.
Ms. Wood, you know, was such an active, in our membership. In fact, that committee functioned better than any one committee in my 10 years in office, when we used to meet with her over at Ponce de Leon on membership. Well, she was unhappy with the program, you know, of the economic security, but she's now back in, and Mr. Griffin is the very person that told her to call our office and find what stand we were going to take on and of course he's head of the Atlanta Hospital Council, to take what stand we were going to take on the private duty rates, because they use private duty on part-time general floor duty. I think very definitely that we need to get back with the directors. I think until that time, and Sister has a very good suggestion.
I think Ms. Wells is really a better suggestion, because then it doesn't sound like it's, you know, we're going directly after them, you know, to invite them special and tell them some board members maybe going to be there, and have it in joint. How many people do you usually have with this good problem feeding us, and would be such a large group we couldn't communicate with one another?
No, it hasn't been that way. It hasn't been too large.
I think that might be better, because they might get a little suspicious of us. And just kind of meet them informally, you know, there, and have a good meeting maybe. And
Are you signing all those for me?
Maybe in that meeting, we can have a little program.
Well, sometimes when you have a lot of time, we'll sign them all.
That night to do that,
I still have some.
And that would entertain them while we're doing the other. Twofold.
yeah, we could have a program.
I'll have to write you a little resume about the May meeting. You know, it was the one we had at the Georgia Institute on the 14th. I thought I'd just put the program.
Yes, sir. We're just thinking.
Are we talking about just hospitals, or are we talking about other agencies?
I'm thinking, you know, primarily of the major hospitals in the metropolitan Atlanta. I think you get too large of a group, you lose the effectiveness of it. I hadn't thought about just where to cut it off. I think the major hospitals in the metropolitan Atlanta area, which would include like South Fulton and DeKalb, are they in our group? They're not in, well, they're in, who's in
Fulton?
5th District? It's South Fulton is. Now DeKalb is another district.
No.
No,
That's okay, DeKalb General and
They
South
won't
Fulton.
come.
Uh-huh.
See, sister, we got the districts down here. I mean, your count is right in there.
Okay, Fulton, DeKalb, Rockdale, Newton counties are, well, I think that's kind of getting too, why don't we just do the major hospitals in these areas, which would be like South Fulton, DeKalb General, and the metropolitan Atlanta, including, that includes Ponce de Leon. They've been active, haven't they?
Include Emory and
And
Eggleston.
Emory and Eggleston and Crawford on
Georgia
Piedmont,
Baptist.
St. Joe's Baptist.
Northside.
This is what I was thinking, this would
Wave
be,
my flag.
Is that where you are,
That's what
man?
she is.
Uh-huh. How many of my nurses you got here?
hitter.
Really?
I would suggest it was not too much work for Miss Fitzpatrick, since they are organized and have dinner meetings, that they just didn't make a special effort to invite the directors at a special meeting and then invite the board, and we could be Dutch, Montreal Dutch.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's
yes.
many of us that could.
Yes.
could
Feel
come.
Dutch, okay? Could you do that? Is that our people plan if they do it? I think it would be.
We've had some problem about a meeting place because they could come anytime to Grady Hospital, but the parking is just so terrible that we hesitate to ask them to come.
Well, where y'all have
I'd
your
be
meetings
glad to.
though?
Well, we have, we've been having them at a cafeteria at
Oh, yeah.
Morrison's, and they let us have a room for meetings.
Yeah, well, that's.
And then we had one time, we had them at the Davis Brothers, they charged us $10 for the room.
I'd be glad to try to arrange for it out
Oh, Emily?
of course,
Uh-huh.
the date, if somebody
Oh.
else has it first, it might not be possible, but I think if I started time enough, probably we would get in bid
Are you
first.
suggesting that this be a meeting separate from our regular meeting? We have, I don't know just exactly what Ms. Woodall has finished, whether she has finished her plans or not for our 6th of October meeting, but she certainly is sure that she would cooperate in any way.
Well, I don't think anybody would want to just go to a real, strictly business meeting,
Uh-huh.
but, if y'all could just have at your regular meeting time and just tell you're having a luncheon meeting to invite the board and, maybe have it more of a social kind of thing, but if you had like a little entertainment, maybe not too long, but I think I just have it really informal, but, might be good to plan some kind of little program, but not, not strictly business meeting, like reading the minutes and all that stuff.
Did you not say that your regular business meeting, election of officers is
It's gonna be October the
Mhm.
6th,
That's what I
and I believe she just about has that planned.
Well, that
for-
obviously would not be a good
No.
timing.
When's your next meeting in December? That's the
December.
Well, you have nice programs in, though. You had the bell ringers.
Oh, we've had, yes.
The Fern Bank one last year was real nice. I went to
We've
that one
had-
and wouldn't take
Ms.
anything for
Woodall
that.
has really, been very good about the entertainment.
Well, if it's
She's
early.
had several good speakers for us too.
Well, you've got dates. Always that open.
Well, ask her
that
what
may be
she
open.
thinks, and let's think about the December then, maybe, and have a little entertainment. Invite the board and have a dinner.
We have an election of officers October the 6th, and so there will probably be somebody else
Just
being
tell 'em all the good
responsible.
Will you pass on
Pass on
our
the kind of
wishes?
So we will, we certainly will, and I'll do all I can to help.
Okay, unfinished business? I have to mention it. I really don't think there is any. There is, but I'm not gonna mention it. At our next meeting, I think we should, attempt to decide what to do with our special account of $1,600. We put it off very nicely the entire year. I think we've done rather well with it.
When do we elect, board members and all of that?
Yeah, that's another thing that we should do
We
right
didn't
now,
replace
is
Miss
set a
Graves.
date.
We didn't replace Ms. Graves, so can we
For-
just wait for the new?
She's
Expiring anyhow.
Yeah,
so-
her term's expired.
The question that would come to my mind is if we have done this with Jackie Graves, are there others on board, or one out of two? But, would
Not to,
default.
not to my
Well,
knowledge.
Millie's a section hand, you see, we can't do anything about her.
Cause see, the rest of them is Stanley McGee and Armstrong have all been to meetings. And Miss Rittenhouse and Wells, all of those have. Miss Graves is the only one that's
Yeah,
been consistent.
I just want to
with
make
these.
sure that
Yeah. Thank you.
There's no discrimination there. She just hadn't been in a year.
ownership differences on the leadership judge.
The elections will be announced on Thursday. And we really should very shortly come up with these committees and get them started and as quickly as possible. Because we have got to work real hard this year, and I really can't keep stressing that enough. Because we're going to be in sad shape if not.
Set your time now, or wait till you...
Now, how is September 21st or 28th? They're both Monday nights.
Do you think we would dare suggest a membership, a Fifth District special dues?
With $56.
I know it, you have an increase for our regular dues. Do you think that we could have dues for the Fifth District that didn't belong to the state?
What you mean, Miss Fitzpatrick? I
I
don't
mean,
catch what you're
mean,
trying to put. You mean increase in dues for us?
A separate special dues for the Fifth District
No,
member.
no.
You don't think we dare
All of the
suggest
all the dues go automatically to A&E, and no dues now can be
we
changed.
couldn't have any private affairs?
You already set up as far as dues are concerned now for another year. You can't do a thing.
I don't mean have it with theirs.
No.
This is extra.
If you want to get out and make some money, that's different. On the money making
No,
project.
I'm
Or
speaking
assess-
about, assess every member $5 a year.
No.
And if we could get 1,000, look, see, that'd be $5,000.
We've already tried that. We sent that out and said, bring us one member or $10. And what did we get? We got one member out of 1,000 envelopes that went out on that. Just one member. I have it. I've almost.
You got a
I've
few
seen it.
$10 though, didn't you?
We got $222 on that. But only one sent the member in lieu of the other. We sent the appeal for it. So, I don't want to discourage you, but
Well-
we tried it. And I even printed up 300 little loyalty cards to send them back to thank them. And I think I sent out about 10 or 15, and most of them were for $10 apiece.
Well, A&A, you know, has had this
This
special deal
special
already
incentive.
this year.
I think we just gonna have to get Freddie or get some big entertainment or get us a nightclub entertainer or a big band or maybe Martin Downey or somebody and have us a real big program.
Miss Lynn wants to know, we want to come the 21st to the 28th, is that?
Well, I've just been reminded that there's an SREB meeting the 28th, so I can't come the 28th.
Oh, well.
But I really think we should, it doesn't have to necessarily be a Monday, for this. We could call it another time of the week.
Well, I think Monday's just as good. I don't know what I've got on the calendar for the 21st. If I don't have anything, I'd like to come on the 21st.
Because the sooner we can get the committees going, the better, which that'll give us enough time to
You've
get
got
the
more
cards
sections.
out.
Oh, yes, you got more section
Monday.
meetings in October and November, so that
September 21 at 4
Special
p.m.
Is it Monday?
is a Monday.
I'll clear the boardroom. I don't know.
4 p.m. and Sister finds the boardroom is filled by.
We'll use our conference room.
Okay. Carolyn announced about the Southeastern Surgical Conference. The other thing that I really should mention is I got a letter from private duty nurses who wanted to recommend to the board, and it's just from her alone, that she be able to only join Georgia State Nurses Association and not the ANA.
That would require bylaw changes. She's been a troublemaker with our private duty group always. And she's unhappy with ANA. They do nothing, and she states that the private duty ones are the ones that do all the nursing. But at any rate, I sent her a little note and told her that nothing could be done.
You know that?
But I would take a letter to the board.
Miss Stanley has better than that.
We've also received a letter for a nomination to Atlanta's Woman of the Year.
Oh, do we nominate you?
We usually do automatically.
Okay.
You want to fill it in for me? Fill it in for me, give me credentials.
There are far better.
Well, we have a standing rule that the president, and it used to be the nurse of the year, be sent in every year, and one's been sent in for the last 7 or 8 years, the president.
Did you say did the nurse of the year?
every year. We hadn't missed a year, the last 7 or 8 years since they made that rule. But we did discontinue, of course, the nurse of the year when that finished.
Some of you may be interested in this, it's a new group that's formed in Atlanta called the Health Information Consultants. And they are a group that works on public relations. It says here, which I think is just great, weak public relations pulse, anemic membership, annual meeting items, and communication gap. But they are a group that organized here, which has all our problems.
That does, right there.
Health Information Consultants there on Briarwood Drive, and they help to improve the communications in groups. And they do make house calls, which I think is very
All free?
interesting.
All good.
But I,
Is it
just
free?
for fun, I don't know,
Sounds
I'm
like
going
a
to
good
call them
program.
and see what suggestions they
Invite
may
our
have.
meetings, yeah. It's free.
idea.
We don't have any money.
Is there anything else?
We passed over Carolyn's thing about the Southeastern Surgical Congress, which I hate too, because I really didn't, I'll speak personally that I would like to have seen the program stronger last year than it was. And I wonder if the program committee is the same this year.
I don't know. I went last year and I went to one meeting only, and I didn't have any follow through at all. I don't think I even got a program of what was
Well,
on.
there
So
are
I
too
didn't
many
get to
people
attend.
I've heard say the same thing about it who are on the committee, and it came out in the Congress program that they were part of the planning committee, which in actuality they were not. So
This
I
is
don't know
from
what.
Genevieve.
Yeah, Genevieve Jones sends
Does
out
that.
communications and heads it up. And I've been on it too. I go to one meeting, and I can't go to one tomorrow, Carolyn.
And you-
We got new students and I can't go. And we go to about one meeting and we'll suggest topics, and that's the last week here. So I don't know what you can do.
Well, is there anything we can do about it? Because this really concerns me. This has the potential of being one of the best conferences that we have
Where do
available.
you could send suggestions in to Genevieve for the program and send suggestions like that in. Or through someone in your organization.
But how can we keep people in our organization that on the program planning committee, until it's planned? This is
That
another
I don't
concern.
know, because it's such a...
There was no follow through whatsoever. I didn't even get the programs to announce, to send out, or anything like that. All I know is it came, and I was tied up, and I didn't even get to go. But I'm going tomorrow, and I thought if you had any suggestions, I'll bring that up.
It's
in
such
Florida?
a...
It's gonna be in Miami, I think, the meeting. But anyhow, the meeting tomorrow is over at Georgia
Miami
Baptist.
Beach, Americana Hotel, April 19th through 22nd, 71.
Does
Well,
it
this
have
is
a
just a
doctor's name on there?
Latin.
Latin.
Same one
You might
on.
talk about the Latin, because he does it all the time. And Genevieve does it all the time.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, they had a delicious luncheon last year. Sister, you missed something. It was at the Marriott, the only time I've ever had any good food there, and it was real good. And the discussion was good. And then, I was disappointed that the follow-through, didn't.
And they plan it for a real large group. It's the whole Southeastern group, and whoever plans it, you gotta give it to them. They organize it and they plan it, and they carry it through, but there may be some weaknesses in the program, but somebody's doing a lot of work, I've gotta say that. I don't know who does it though.
Anything else?
That's nice.
All those in?
Is that when I passed around the
No,
table?
this is the
Oh,
one
I'm
you passed
sorry,
around.
sorry. I didn't mean to.
I
Well, I
thought
knew I
I-
passed mine around, it's only when I
I
saw
thought
it.
one more I'm gonna give it to Mr. Vogelin Jones when I go see him.
I didn't see that, I knew
I think they ought to have one
But
that
it
sees
ended up with
we're
you.
staying within.
All those in favor